So welcome to another edition of Featured Business, brought to you by Visibility Impact and your host, James Moffat, myself. Right, we have our, which I made a mistake last week. 𝗬𝗢𝗦𝗧, you are our 77th guest, and Connie, you're actually our 76th guest, although I put on the flyer, the post, I put 77. So because I was playing around with the numbers and I got the numbers mixed up. So actually, you'll see 77 and 77 again. So Connie, you are actually our 76th, and 𝗬𝗢𝗦, you are our 77th.
Oh, I like that. 7 is one of my favorite numbers, 3s and 7s. So they always appear in my life at critical junctures. So 77 is a good indicator. I like that.
Excellent. So Connie, I am forgetting. 𝗬𝗢𝗦𝗧, you have been a guest before, so you're within our top few at the very beginning. So I can't remember. I need to dig that out and find out which one it was and see if we've got a recording. But we're recording this one anyway, so at least you'll have this one. So I was so fascinated with what you are doing then that I not just wanted to know more about what it is that you're doing now, but also because you've also over the last 2 years kind of changed direction a little bit or added more value to what you're doing. So I want to learn more about kind of where you are and what you're doing, but still taking you back on a journey so people can understand kind of your background, where you come from, particularly those that don't know you. But before we start with 𝗬𝗢𝗦𝗧, we're going to kick off with Laszlo. No, with, I said that because he disappeared, you see. Right. Laszlo's going to give us a song. No, he's not.
You bet.
Yeah, you can sing, can you?
Well, everyone can sing, but others can listen is a different question.
All right. Well, some can sing better than others, I guess.
That's true.
All right. So Emily, our singer. All right. Emily, you're going to sing a song for us today? Are you going to hang around this time or disappear?
No, I can't. I have so much work this afternoon, unfortunately, but I will listen to the recording because I'm very interested. James told me it's about dreams, and that sounds really interesting.
Yes, the dream deciphered. So Emily, just over to you. So 𝗬𝗢𝗦𝗧 will just park you just for a minute or so while Emily is going to give us a song. So what are you going to sing?
Is that okay there? Yeah.
Yeah. Pete, is that okay? Can you see Emily?
Pete's gone to make his lunch.
No,
Pete,
there she is.
he came on specially for you.
Yeah, I'm only on this day because of you, Emily. Just want you to know.
Okay, I'm going to sing a song called Forget You from CeeLo Green.
Oh, fun. From Georgia.
Can you hear?
Yeah.
Yes.
Right there, it's got a bit quiet.
See you driving around town with a girl I love, and I get you. I guess the change in my pocket wasn't enough, but I get you. I forget that you said if I was richer, I'd still be with you. Now ain't that something? Though there's pain in my chest, I still wish you the best. Forget you. I said I'm sorry, but I bought a Ferrari. That don't mean I got you back. There's she's in Xbox, and I'm on Atari. The way you play your games back, I pity the fool who falls in love with you. Oh, she's a gold digger, just thought you should know. Ooh, I got some news for you. Oh, I see you driving around town with a girl I love, and I get you. Guess the change in my pocket wasn't enough, and I get you. I'm forgetting to say if I was richer, I'd still be with you. Now ain't that something? No, there's pain in my chest, I still wish you the best, and I get you.
Bravo.
Yeah. Hey.
I actually realized I started it in the wrong key, but then it was too late to change. It's a bit low.
Yeah, I thought there was something. I was just about to stop you there. Yeah, I was trying to judge that. I was just going to say, is that the right key? Yeah, I think Pete was thinking the same. Yeah,
It seemed used to. I'm kidding.
but it was quite a short song, actually.
Well, I didn't sing the whole thing because it was in the wrong key, and I felt like it wasn't that interesting for you guys because it was just a bit low. So that was all. So I cut it. I cut it halfway. So actually, yeah.
Right. You don't want to do another one then?
Do you guys want me to do another one?
Do we want to do another one?
This is a big.
Okay. I mean, if you want, I mean, I'm not in any hurry, and you could just keep going on. So
Do any of you have a request? I can't promise I'll do it, but
maybe Sheila, do you have a request?
No, actually, I don't. I mean, I just enjoy music, period. So whatever Emily wants to choose is fine.
Oh, it's got to be Pete then.
Emily, do you know Georgia by Ray Charles?
I love that song, but I wouldn't know it well enough to sing it right now, but I really love Ray Charles, so I'll look over that song another time for sure.
Justin Bieber, there's a song that you sang before by Justin Bieber that has a Georgia theme to it. I can't remember exactly which one it was.
Teachers, I think, probably.
Yeah. So anyway, those are my suggestions, but anything you sing, I'm sure will be fabulous.
Okay, I will sing a Nat King Cole then.
Oh, fabulous.
Can't go wrong with Nat King Cole.
No, he's as good as they come.
Right, Boyan's just joining. If you just wait 1 second just for Boyan. Right, so he doesn't miss it. Oh, come on. All right, play away.
Actually, I'm not sure of the key of this one either, so I'll give it a go. But this one's short anyway, so if it's the wrong key, I'll just go with it. You can join in if it's the wrong key.
Yeah, Boyan, is your cue there to join in?
Okay, all right.
It's for the way you look at me. Oh, it's for the only one I see. V is very, very extraordinary. There's even more than anyone that you adore can love. It's all that I can give to you. Love is more than just a game for two. Two in love can make it. Take my heart, but please don't break it. Love was made for me and you. And it's for the way you look at me. Oh, it's for the only one I see. V is very, very extraordinary. It's even more than anyone that you adore can love. It's all that I can give to you. Love is more than just a game for two. Two in love can make it. Take my heart, please don't break it. Love was made for me and you. Love was made for me and you.
I hesitated in the middle because I was going to do the French version, but I chickened out because I didn't have the French lyrics in front of me. And I thought, knowing me, I'll forget them halfway through. But there's a really nice French version of the song as well, actually.
You could have switched between French and English.
Well, normally I do. I start with English, then I do French, and I go back to English. But yeah, I chickened out. So
I will be able to get only the English one.
Yeah.
Anyway,
You're in a safe place, Emily. You
True.
can speak up. We will not make fun of you. So next, go for it.
Yes.
right. So I'm planning on a world tour of featured business, you see, to visit everyone in their respective countries. So you'll have to come with me, Emily. Is that okay?
Sure. Sounds good. Sounds fun.
And then we do the same show, but we'll do it live with each of the guests' houses. Is that okay?
Yeah, you got well, I've got a room in a basement. Emily, I could have the room and you could have the basement.
We could start in Atlanta, right?
Absolutely. You are welcome in my home.
All right, okay. All right. Anyway, so thanks, Emily. So
Thank you, guys.
I mean, with the recording, you can catch up on the dream deciphering and other things, right? And find out more about that. And then also you feel free to reach out directly with Sheila.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd love to. It sounds so interesting. I'd love to have my dreams deciphered.
Oh, right. Well, she's the person. Right.
Anytime.
Actually, that reminds me of a dream to be deciphered as well. So, but anyway, let's switch over to Sheila and put her in the hot seat. So, Emily, thanks once again.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Have a great
Thank
weekend.
Bye.
And see you. Well, I'm trying to plan for the second book one on Monday.
Ah,
Right? For those that missed the previous one.
okay.
Right. So, yeah, I know I'm trying to work it around what you said, Monday or Thursday.
Oh, super. Thanks.
Right. So I'll send out a meeting for that.
Okay, cool.
Okay. All right then. Thanks everyone. Oh,
Bye.
thanks everyone. I mean,
Bye.
I was going to say bye myself. Right. So Sheila, right. You are our 77th guest and welcome. And does everybody know Sheila? Or hands up if you don't know Sheila, really? Does anyone not know Sheila? Everyone knows Sheila. Right?
Yes.
You know Sheila's story? No. Okay then. Right. So here we go then. So Sheila, we're going to learn about you. Okay.
Fire away.
So Sheila, let's just find out where you are at the moment. So where are you living, or where are you at the moment?
I am in London. I've been here for the last 24 years. I can't believe I've been here that long.
Wow.
But I'm originally from New York.
And anywhere in particular in New York?
From the South Bronx, man.
Wow. Right. So are you a baseball follower?
Funnily enough, no, but I mean, not assiduously anyway, but I lived near Yankee Stadium. I lived near Shea Stadium. When I lived in LA,
Right.
I lived near this. Well, I didn't live near the stadium there, but the first baseball game I ever attended was actually in LA. So,
All right.
yeah, in VIP seats at that.
Oh, you have to tell me that story then. Is that worth sharing?
Say it again.
Is that worth sharing, that story?
No, because the people who gave me the seats were quite shady and
okay.
had
So-
ulterior motives in giving me the seats.
Right.
So no, it's not worth remembering. Thank you very much.
Okay. Yeah, I liked New York Yankees.
I said, yeah.
Although I never saw the Yankees, we went to the Met Stadium.
Oh, okay, it's a shame. Okay. Yeah. My granddad was a Mets fan. But like I said, I grew up almost in the shadow of Yankee Stadium. So, in that sense, I have more of an affinity for the Yankees, but
So
I'm not a
Pete,
big baseball fan.
Pete, are you a baseball fan?
Yes, very much so. My city are actually the world champion Atlanta Braves. So yes, I'm a very happy fan of baseball. And while we only have 2 championships compared to the Yankees, who have like 26, we're still very proud of our team.
So Sheila, you were born in the Bronx then,
Yeah.
but your origins, I mean, your parents came from somewhere else.
No, my mother was born in New York. My father was born in Alabama, actually.
All right. But I remember we had Sheldon on, he's from Trinidad and Tobago. You said something about there's a connection there.
Yeah, my mother's side, that my family comes from Trinidad. My maternal grandparents were from Trinidad.
All right. Okay. Have you been there?
No, I've been in other places around the Caribbean, but that's a family issue around that. So I don't have as close a connection to my Trinidadian side of the family as much as I could.
Okay.
And there's there's reasons for that, which don't need to be gone into, but let's suffice it to say, it's a place I'd like to go and visit, but I haven't gotten there yet.
Okay. So Sheila, I forgot to mention your full name because I'm terrible with names. Maybe you can pronounce your name.
Well, it's 𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪, and I've heard lots of stories from various Indian people as to what the name means. But for my late husband's history, there were 2 clans, the 𝗪𝗪𝗪s and the 𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪s, and they came together. And then they've had a falling out since since then. So the 𝗪𝗪𝗪s and the 𝗪𝗪𝗪s don't talk to each other anymore. But there are various stories that I've heard about what the name actually means. The latest that I heard was from someone who's Indian, is said that it's tied up with the story of Krishna as a child. And therefore the name is a derivative of this child version of Krishna.
Wow.
Yeah.
And your late husband, where was he from?
He was from Jamaica, but his parents were from Guyana, but ultimately they were from what we believe was West Bengal.
All right. So did you go to Jamaica then?
Oh, yeah. Long before I met my husband and after I met him, yes, most certainly.
So what were you doing in these countries? Was it holidays or something? Or?
Holidays. I did a bit of work in terms of creating some of my vibrational essences while on the family holiday there. Honeymoon kind of trip, so different things.
So would you live in Jamaica?
Where did I make them?
No, would you like to live in Jamaica, or it's not a place?
Well, I don't know. I never really thought about it because my husband had lived here for so many years that he'd lived here longer than he'd lived in Jamaica. He left Jamaica when he was a young man to perform with a band that came over here and traveled all around Europe. And then he settled in the UK, and that was temporary, but that was over 50 years. So that was a very long temporary stay.
So where did you meet him then?
I met him here. I was working.
In London, you mean?
Yeah, in London. I was working for one of the test tube baby doctors at the time. He wasn't a lord back then. He was only a mister. But I was doing medical transcriptions. I was working for the summer, actually. And the day that I met him, or the night that I met him, I was desperately trying to get home. I said, I hated the weather, I hated the prices, I really didn't want to be here. And I couldn't get a flight out. So, and a colleague of mine who lived nearby said, I'm having a house party. Why don't you come? And it was like, what the hell? I can't get out of this damn burg. I might as well go to a party. And at this party where I only knew a couple of my co-workers, I didn't know anybody else. So I was kind of like hanging around just in a corner looking, and then I saw this guy with this white jacket that the lights were out or down way low. So I said, this white jacket really shone like a beacon, and it's like, ooh,
John Travolta.
that? And I asked my girlfriend, I said, well, do you know that guy? She's like, of course I do. I said, well, good, introduce me. So she introduced me. He asked me to dance, and the rest really was history. And he never wore that jacket ever again, I have to add.
Well, I know why, in case he attracted more girls.
Yeah, right. Well, actually, he was a very shy person. He wasn't one to kind of, put himself out there.
But he's in a band.
Yeah, he was.
Was that before he was shy?
He was a drummer, so he was always in the background anyway.
Okay. With a white jacket on.
Yeah. But he was, a good friend. He was my dancing partner. I think that's the thing that I missed the most, that we were a spectator sport for our friends when we would dance. They would come to parties just to watch us dance together. So I really missed that. I love to dance. And he, unfortunately, just before our 25th anniversary, he passed away. So,
terrible.
yeah,
You have a picture there you can share?
I probably do. Let me see if I can find one.
Because I know previously, I mean, you're extremely close, and yeah, it's quite a shock when you lose someone so close to you.
Yeah, it is. It was, but he was, because of it, he had cancer, and to this day, I wonder if he had been diagnosed earlier, if there might have been a chance that he would have survived. But by the time the diagnosis was finally made, it was already just too late. There was nothing, this cancer had spread too much. And he was in so much pain that it was really, I think, just easier to let him go. It was awful. It wasn't nice at all to have to witness, but that's the way it is.
Yeah.
Life hands you lemons, and sometimes you just have to.
I mean, it's not too pleasant. I mean, I watched my grandparents on my mum's side. I mean, they're both not even 60, and they both passed away from cancer. And when you saw it coming within 2 years, they kind of aged 20 years. And yeah, not a pleasant thing. But anyway, so I just curious, from living so long in the Bronx and New York and that lifestyle, I'm not saying that London is a bad lifestyle, but what took you to go over to London then?
Well, as I said, the year that I actually, I was here working for a summer in between school years or university semesters. So I was here for a summer, and I worked for a time. I was traveling on the continent, and my journey started in London. So I just seemed to gravitate towards London, wittingly or unwittingly. And interestingly enough, even now, where I live, I haven't really moved very far from where I actually started from here in London. So it's really quite funny that I've just kind of stayed in one basic area the entire time, I mean, which is really quite odd, because I moved several times in the States, and it's interestingly enough, they say that on average, people move about 3 times in a lifetime in the States, and I had beat that before I was a teenager. So I'm just like, I just have itchy feet, I guess. But then I come by it legitimately. My mother's nickname was the Road Runner. So,
Yeah.
oh,
So now that you live in London, I mean, you're quite happy there, though.
some days. I just find that winters, I find I suffer the most is the damp cold that is so different from New York. We don't have the Gulf Stream. It's far out to sea by the time it gets up by New York. So when we get cold there, it's coming straight down from the Arctic. So it's very dry, kind of cold. But at least the sun shines. I can't take all this gloom. It's so freaking gray all the time here. I can't stand it.
Go to Jamaica.
Yeah, I mean, that's an option, certainly.
But do you have a property in Jamaica then?
Well, I mean, at one time, Rupert, my husband's family actually were quite well-to-do and had quite, a large house with servants and this and that and all kinds of important people coming and going. His dad had built the first ice cream factory, among other things, on the island. And so he had training from growing up with his dad as a refrigeration specialist. But, things went downhill for whatever reason, and all of that was lost. So he, became working class, if you will, but always had that touch of,
Magic.
I don't know, something else, a je ne sais quoi.
But why don't you spend the winter in Jamaica and then the summer in London?
Totally different thing. I mean, yes, both can be hot and humid, but you've always got trade winds blowing in Jamaica. So unless you're in a city somewhere like in Kingston, which is where he was from, but up in the mountains or by the sea, it's always fresh and cool and quite lovely.
Yeah. Can you put on a Jamaican accent?
No, I mean, bits and pieces, but it's more
when you go there,
more like a Trinidadian than a Jamaican.
But when you go there, I mean, I guess it's natural to kind of mimic sometimes.
Well, because I pick up languages and accents easily. Yeah, I mean, if I'm around a lot of people from a place that certain groups of people anyway, my accent does change. I mean, I laugh because my first husband, Rupert was my second husband, but I met him before I met my first husband, which is another story.
Right.
Yeah, I'm a New Yorker. I'm in a hurry. I get things done efficiently. So I meet the second husband first.
So Sheila, are you looking for a third one?
You never know. You never know.
Because
I'm not looking, but if spirit shows me someone else, then it's something I will consider.
Yeah, we could make this featured business also a dating agency, you see,
Right.
because there's a few single people.
No, please don't. You know why? Because whenever I try looking, it never turns out well. It's like spirit shows me the person and then I know. That's how with each of the men that had come into my life, that's how I knew, because there was something in me that said yes.
But yeah, you're 50.
I'm
50.
You're very kind, but no, I'm actually 61.
No, you wouldn't believe that, because I've kind of zoomed in on you and I don't see a single wrinkle.
Yeah, well, I mean, not yet. You're not looking close enough, James.
I mean, I'm using a soft filter like Zoom feature, right? to look a few years younger.
And being a vegetarian, perhaps, that keep me going.
But I mean, you use natural products and things. I mean, how do you keep that fresh looking, wrinkle-free skin?
I don't use a whole lot of things, actually. My beauty regime as such is very simple. And in fact, I very rarely wear makeup. I don't stay in the sun. I hate frying like a piece of bacon in the sun.
Mhm.
I don't mind sitting under a tree and having some coconut water, though. That's nice.
yeah.
Maybe with some rum in it, but just a little bit.
Yeah, I like that.
But not too much. And it's just basically not putting a lot of crap in my body. I mean,
Yeah.
you get garbage in, garbage out.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's my
Yeah.
motto. You don't put a
Yeah.
lot of junk in, you don't get a lot of junk back out.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm in the sun, I mean, I like to be in the sun because it's nice to be outside, but I tend to burn. So I like it for a bit and then, but not too hot. I mean, anything over 28 is too hot for me.
Yeah. Well,
So-
I mean, that's a British thing, is that it gets to, like 25 degrees and they're like, oh, it's the tropics, it's too hot.
Exactly.
Then when the
So-
temperature drops, oh, it's too cold. So you can't,
Yeah, you have to complain all the
you can't
time.
win.
It's too hot or too cold. But when you mentioned rum, it just reminded me of I dated a girl that lived in Suriname, and Suriname, they had I can't remember what it's called, Borgo or something, one of the best rums ever, and it was kind of like their speciality, this rum, and it came from Suriname. I think it's called something like Borgo or something like that. I can't remember. But
Could
check
be,
it
yeah. And it's funny about rum. It has each island, each place that manufactures it, the taste is very, very different. And of all different places that I have been to, I think the rum that gets your head bad the worst is from the French islands, because it's very very sweet taste. And ooh, this is nice and sweet. Like, boy, get your head bad quick. But yeah, I mean, it's about this terrain, and that's true of the products that are produced in the land as well as people. It's the terrain that counts. And that even relates to dreams. I mean, that what we dream is about the terrain, or whether we remember dreams and all of that are all related to the kind of soil, if you will, that is producing the dreams. So we're just a product of where we're planted, so to speak.
Yeah. So Sheila, I want to kind of fast forward a little bit, unless there's any particular stories that you want to share. I mean, I know that you do singing, dancing, reading, you love the nature. You're a singer as well. Were you a singer before you met your husband who was in the band?
Oh, I've sung all my life, semi-professionally, thought about singing professionally, but I really wanted to be a dancer. I was always a frustrated dancer. That's what I lived for.
So what type of dancing?
All kinds of dancing. I mean, not just, freestyle, but I studied modern dance. I studied African dance. I've studied folk dancing.
Wow.
So, I mean, it's just.
The Charleston. Can you do the Charleston?
Yes, I can do the song. I can do samba very well. In fact,
I tell you, I absolutely
than they are, but
but I absolutely love the Charleston. I think, you love it. Yeah, I could watch them doing that all day long.
Yeah, it's fun. It's absolutely fun. I mean, swing dancing, I love. I'll never forget when I was in LA, I went swinging dancing with a friend, and they do all of these acrobatics and whatnot, and he swung me up into the air over his head, and it was like, oh my God,
Wow.
What if I hadn't been wearing any underwear that day? Not that I go around with no underwear, but just the thought, because he just literally picked me up and flipped me over, and it's like, oh my God. It was a bit of a shock, but I mean, I love to dance. I mean, I've danced in virtually anything, as long as I have a partner who knows how to lead. I can follow.
Yeah, we had
good if they're not very good.
we had a previous guest Vanessa, I think it was. I can't remember now. In the Netherlands, that she was a dancer. But I can't. Anyway, so singing. So you still do singing then?
More for myself than anything.
But you were in a band.
No. I wasn't.
But did you sing in your husband?
I did sing like modern gospel with
Really?
a group for a short time.
Yeah. I
But
mean,
like I said, that was semi-professionally. It wasn't
okay.
going
So
out or things like that.
So I'm going to put you on the spot here. Do you want to sing anything?
I haven't done vocal training in so long, but I could try. I mean, you have to, you're putting me on the spot. I haven't.
But let's ask the audience first. Does the audience want to hear Sheila sing a song? Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Pete.
Okay.
Pete.
Of course we want to hear her sing. Why do you that question?
Right. Okay then. So you're on the spot now. So
Okay.
right.
Right. Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise. See, I told you, no warm up. High as the listening skies, let it resound loud as the rolling sea. No warm ups, not good. Not good.
It was good. I mean, to put.
I'd like to warm up at least 20 minutes before trying, and it's like.
I mean, forgive me. I did put you on the spot.
You did.
But I mean, it was beautiful.
Thank you.
I could see kind of the authenticity and the emotion in the way that you sing as well, and it was beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah, I could listen to more. Yeah, right.
The last couple of years, I haven't been singing very much for obvious reasons. I haven't felt much like singing, but I do sing for myself.
You could sing the blues.
Yeah.
We're not here to make you miserable. We're here to cheer you up. Right?
You do. It's a lovely community. It's nice to be able to, and you have to cut that bit out,
No, that's what makes it special. I mean, we asked like the other day about what makes it special about what we do. It's moments like this. If we cut these bits out, it's not special anymore.
It's not special anymore.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
So anyway, so let's kind of learn more about, because I know Emily will be having to listen to all of this before she can actually get to the part about dream deciphering. So yeah, at 8 years old, you had your first dream experience.
Yes.
Or it may be more than just a dream experience, because I guess we're always dreaming, but something that was memorable.
Yeah. I mean, it's a family gift on my mother's side of the family. I call them dreamers, that we dream in order to be able to assist people in some way or other. And for me, my particular take on that gift was to understand dreams and to be able to interpret them. Sort of a modern day Joseph, if you will.
Yeah, I never related that connection until you've just said it now.
Yeah.
But he was a dream decipherer.
Yeah, absolutely. There was, when I was 8 years old, I had this dream, and I saw the youngest of my 3 aunts and my cousins house had burned down. And the dream that I had was very, very detailed, and it was quite frightening, as you would imagine. But what was stuck out in my mind out of all of that was that I see my cousin standing outside of this burning house. I see my aunt coming rushing up to them because she was a nurse, she worked at night, and asking the oldest of my cousins what on earth had happened. She said, well, you know, there was an electrical fire. We all got out safe except for the dog. The next day, one of my other aunts comes to the house and asks my mother and I to gather any clothing and anything that we had to be able to take to my other aunt because they had gotten burned out. And like a chill just ran down my spine. And my mother asked my aunt, well, what sparked it? It was an electrical fire. Did everybody get out safe? Yes, everybody except the dog got out safely. And it just freaked me out, to be quite honest. I think, to be honest, looking back now as an adult, what I think was happening wasn't so much of a dream as it was remote viewing. Like I was seeing what was happening as in real time as it was happening. But it came to me as an 8-year-old, it was a dream. And I remember the time when I looked at the clock, it was like 1:15 in the morning, and it was about 1 o'clock in the morning when this happened.
Wow. So can I ask you a question then? Do you believe in that time is irrelevant in the way that the past, the present, and the future is evolving at the same time?
Oh, yes.
And that's why when you see something happening, it's because it's already happened, depending on what point of view you're looking at it.
Yeah, if you think of time as circular rather than linear, which is a very Western idea, but I'm part Native American as well as having coming from an African background, and time is seen in a circular way, with different levels of time maybe being kind of like stacked on top of each other. So depending where, if you're in the center of the circle, depending on which way you look, past and present and future are all points along that circle. So it just depends what direction you're looking in. And that, I think that's how mediums would work, because they see things, but in terms of linear time, it could be objectively in the past, present, or future. So I often have had dreams that were telling me about something which I know hadn't happened. And it hadn't happened yet. So I had to assume that it would be in the future. And so it proved, like bringing my second husband back into my life after many years of being apart and meeting again. So
let me just pause you 1 second, because
circular.
Sorry.
To time.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt. It just reminded me that I remember I looked after some field engineers in telecoms, and I was on the phone to one of them, and he was in one of these road connection points with all the telecom wires coming together, and he was sitting there talking to me on the phone. And he said, I'm having deja vu. And he said, I'm talking to you about it, but everything I'm seeing has already happened. I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. And he's telling me, and this went on for like 5 minutes. And he said, I know everything there. He said, it's already happened.
Wow.
And
yeah,
in a way, it's kind of that glitch in that time circular kind of, maybe we're not supposed to step outside of it, or whatever happens, there can be a glitch, and then you're seeing something that's already happened.
I mean, it's time is an artificial construct to begin with. I remember something that somebody told a cousin of mine who was doing some developmental work in Africa, in Gabon. And the man, they were trying to get mineral concessions or something or other. And this chieftain that my colleague or cousin was speaking to said, what need do I have for money? He said, and gold means nothing to me. So it's like, we picked them up out of the ground, and he picked up a chunk
Wow.
chunk of gold. It has no meaning for me. You know, sunrise is still sunrise, whether it's at 5 a.m. or 7 a.m. Sunset is still sunset, whether that happens at, 4 p.m. or 10 p.m. No difference. So time in and of itself as a definition is artificial.
Mhm.
It has no real meaning as such.
Yeah, I mean, that's just another subject I could talk about for a long time, but I want to kind of move into more about maybe there is a significant dream that you want to tell us about that when you were back in New York. I know I've heard the story, but for the ones that haven't heard the story, I think it's great to share that one, because that was a massive pivotal point in your life as well.
Yes, it was. Actually, it's kind of started from here because I had married my husband,
Mhm.
and the home office was being persnickety about giving me permanent leave to stay. So they said it would be quicker and easier if I were to return to New York, apply there, rather than trying to do it while I was here. So that's
Right.
why I packed up, went back to New York for a year. And it's true, within weeks, they had given me a new visa to come back into the country. But during that year, I kept having nightmares. And I mean, serious gut-wrenching nightmares. I'd wake up literally in a cold sweat, just shaking. And they were dreams or nightmares about shipwrecks. And it's like, what the hell is that? I don't know anybody going on a cruise. I'm not going on a cruise. What the hell is this about shipwrecks? But I kept hearing shipwrecks. And during all of this time, I was continuing to try to actually get my husband to join me in New York. And every time I pry open the door, it would slam shut again. And I'd try something else and it would slam shut again. And it was as if to say, no, this is not what you're meant to do. And finally, I just said, you know what, screw this. I can't fight this anymore. There's obviously, I need to go back to London. And that's when the nightmare stopped, just stopped abruptly from like literally one day to the next. Then it was strange. I mean, there was no explanation from it. I didn't understand what the dream meant, which was unusual. I wasn't able to make heads or tails of it, which was it frightened me even more because I was never been able to not understand a dream. But I finally, moved lock, stock, and barrel with all my furniture and whatnot, because I just bought new furniture and I wasn't leaving most of it behind, at least my bed. Went back to London. And I was working near my home for a doctor's surgery. And one day, as I came back to the surgery from after having lunch, I entered the building and everybody was like crazed. It's like, what is going on? What is wrong with everybody? Everybody's running around. People were like shouting. It's like, what the hell? And all I could hear was planes, tower, struck. And my mind went blank instantly. And I knew what the dream was about. It was the towers getting hit, the Twin Towers getting hit by planes. Now, I worked in a building that was connected to the towers and walked through the esplanade under the towers every single day to go to work on Wall Street, every single day when I was a stockbroker. There was a friend of mine who worked in the same building, but she wasn't there that day because she didn't come in till the afternoon. So obviously she wasn't there. Friend of mine, his wife worked in the government nursery that was in one of the buildings connected to the tower, number 7 World Trade Center. She wasn't there that day because her kids were sick. cousin of mine who's a police captain, what doesn't working in the air. I mean, it was just incredible. But people I knew here in London lost people in those towers. And that's when the penny really dropped and said, you know what? You better start listening to your dreams more, because you'll get your ass killed if you don't. And you know, that even then, it still took me a while to fully accept this gift that I had. And it wasn't until I went on a retreat in Marrakesh in Morocco, a women's retreat in 2017, that it really came home to me that not only that I had a gift that people were interested in, but that it was something that I could actually use as a way to make a living. And from then on, it's been a process of really grounding that into my everyday reality and being the dream decipherer. It took me a long time to get here. But it's who I am, it's what I am, and fighting it just doesn't profit me at all.
So, I mean, it's an excellent story. And I mean, if you, just looking back, I mean, you said from the age of 8, you had a memorable dream that you could remember. I mean, you probably had them ever since you were born, but you just couldn't remember if there was any significance in them. And then between 8 and what happened at 9/11, you must have, I guess, had quite a few dreams as well, which you probably dismissed as just a dream.
Well, not dismissed. I mean, I've always noted my dreams. And like I said, the dreams had brought my husband back into my life. My dreams have warned me of danger. My dreams have showed me things that were going to happen in my life. So I mean, I've been noting them and being guided by them all along, but it was just something that I didn't share with very many people. You know, it was the kind of thing, you know, you're a kid and you wear thick glasses and you're a bookworm, and it's like, you're weird enough. You know, don't complicate things even further by telling people that you can understand what they're doing.
Oh yeah. I mean, as soon as you tell something that's outside of the norm, you're either labeled or branded as kind of a fool, a crazy person, or something else. So, but I think it's more acceptable these days to be crazy or branded something else.
Well, I mean, I laugh because I said, you know, they said that everything happens at the right time and in the right place. And see, now we're in the age of Aquarius, so I'm right up there with everybody else, you know, in terms of, you know, looking at things from a more spiritual perspective, or, you know, so the times have finally caught up with me, if you will.
Yeah. So, I mean, going into kind of the spiritual side, there's probably a lot that was in the dreams as well. And so when did you discover that, well, I can actually decipher other people's dreams? What was kind of that point that once you learned that what your dreams meant, that you could decipher your own dreams, but also how did you get involved with helping others?
Well, that's what, I mean, 2017 was really the turning point in kind of going public, if you will. But I had been working with other people's dreams all along. When I was doing my psychotherapy training, part of our training was to work with dreams. So we were always presenting dreams as part of our curriculum. And it was there. I mean, that other students, you know, you really have a gift for this. And it was my way of being able to legitimately work with dreams without people thinking I was crazy, because I was a psychotherapist, and, you know, and use that as a vehicle to really be able to get people to shift. When I was doing counseling work, I did drug and alcohol counseling and bereavement counseling. And it was helpful for many of my clients to be able to present their dreams and us to work through them, to find out what was really going on at a deeper level. So for the last I guess, maybe 15 years or so, I really started to start branching out, if you will, and using dreams or working with dreams in a more public way. But it wasn't really until 2017 that I finally kind of like planted my flag and said, this is what I do. This is who I am, and this is what I do.
Okay.
That it really became no longer an open secret. It was just out there.
So this is, I mean, moving into kind of the business and what you do now. So you, and because you're kind of a spiritual person, you can decipher dreams. You've worked with people that have some problems of sorts, and then kind of blending it together for kind of more this well-being and mental health, addressing these kinds of problems. So tell me a bit about what you're doing now, and what's you have a name for the business? And
yes, well, I go under my own name, but what I'm working on now is becoming certified as, it goes by various names, but I call myself a mental fitness coach. And if we have time, I'd like to be able to actually go through one of the little exercises, takes 2 minutes, that would kind of give people an actual experience of what it is I do with people.
Okay, but who's up for that? I'm up for that.
Twice.
Okay.
Yeah, Pete, you up for that? A little
Heck yeah.
exercise.
Of course.
Right.
But I mean, I'm intrigued by that. It's all guys that are still here at the moment, which, you know, everything happens for a reason. So I wonder what that's about. It's like, you know, men may have a tendency to be more skeptical about things.
Well,
so
actually,
maybe that's why it's all of you that are present at this point.
Unfortunately, the others had to drop off for one reason or other.
Yeah,
but in saying that, there is a huge, particularly in the UK, a huge mental health problem for men.
Yeah,
I think it's worldwide.
but
Yeah.
I mean,
Myself in the mirror and I see the guy with the problems.
well, it's mental fitness. I mean, not in terms of looking at it, you know, some kind of organic imbalance or something like that. This is more about building your mental fitness muscles so that your reactions to things, reactions to things in your life, reactions in your relationships, and in your life in your profession, your professional life, are not being driven by internal saboteurs. So, I mean, technically, it's called positive intelligence, and you can look that up, positiveintelligence.com. There's a whole body of work, and it came along in my life really at a critical time, which was right after my husband passed away. And I just needed something to focus on. And a friend, by chance, and we know nothing happens by chance in this world, invited me along to this 6-week program of positive intelligence. And what I learned in that 6 weeks and the shifts that I saw in just those 6 weeks impressed me to the point where I could already see, in terms of the work and the courses that I offer, how I could incorporate this program to be able to really get people to shift and get them moving in the direction that they desire to go. But what it is about simple techniques that joins 4 branches of science, neuroscience, like positive psychology, sports psychology, neuroscience, and I forget the 4th one. I always forget the 4th one, but never mind. 4 branches of science, and creates such a simple but powerful program that even 6-year-olds are able to learn it and beat their saboteurs before they have a chance to really screw up their lives as adults. Amazing stuff, absolutely amazing. And like I said, it's something that literally takes minutes a day. I mean, I'm still going under my certification training, but one person that I worked with who's starts her training tomorrow, in the 1 hour session that she had with me, she found it interesting. A couple of days later, when a situation came up that was similar to the one that I used for her to feel how this experience is like, she was automatically started using the technique, and she was blown away. That's when she decided, I need this course. In 1 hour.
Wow.
Yeah, a 1 hour conversation.
Right, you've got 1 minute with us.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the exercise itself, we were having a whole conversation, because what starts the process is actually to do a 5-minute online assessment,
yeah,
where you find out what your saboteurs who your saboteurs actually are. And then we start working through how they show up, where they're showing up, and how you can circumvent them or reduce them down to size. So they're not like this, they're like this. Yeah. Cut them down to size.
I'm ready.
Completely.
I'm ready. So have you got something for us then?
Yeah, I'm going to ask you all, and you can even turn your cameras off while you do this. It's up to you. But I want you to close your eyes and think about a situation that caused you, whether it be recent or in the past, that caused you a lot of stress or aggravation or frustration, whatever it is. I want you to think about that. And not just think about it, but feel the emotions that come with it, whether it was anger, frustration, sadness, whatever the case may be. Now, as you've got this in your mind, I want you to, with one hand, rub your thumb and forefinger against each other with just enough tension to feel the ridges of your fingerprints. Just rub your fingers together with just enough tension to feel the fingerprints on both fingers. Now, I'd like you to take one hand, the fingers of one hand, and rub your fingers across the hand, your fingers and palm of the other hand. Just rub gently with one hand across the fingers and palm of the other, and feel all the sensations that you feel as you rub your fingers across your palm and hand. Now I'd like you to focus on your breath. As you breathe in, note the temperature of the air as you breathe in through your nostrils. And note the temperature of the air as you breathe out again. Feel the air temperature as you breathe in, and feel it as it goes back out again. Just focus on the sensation and the temperature of the air as you breathe in and as you breathe out. Now, I want you to think about that situation that you just had in mind again, and think how you may have responded differently than you did the first time. And when you're ready, open your eyes. So when everyone's ready, I said, tell me how you're feeling.
Well, for me, kind of relieved. I don't care about that situation anymore because I know there's bigger and better things to come. So whatever I felt at the time caused me a lot of pain and maybe afterwards, but then once I accepted it and now I don't care because that is so minute, although it's a big problem. Yeah, I don't want it to manifest into something worse. So to me, I've kind of thrown it out. I still got to deal with it, but not in the same way I dealt with it at the time.
How about you, Boyan?
Well, it was interesting situation, really stressful, and I think that what I was thinking before this exercise and after that, most likely my reaction at the time and after thinking was going to be the same. This is something, but maybe because it's something in the past, we have a saying here, my behavior is like a rabbit that already got shot. So it's something that it's like a noise for me. It's a kind of experience. So this is what I think, but maybe thinking about different situations, this would help me to change maybe the way I respond.
How about you, Laszlo? Thank you for that.
I didn't feel any difference.
Okay, that's okay. I mean, this is something that's entirely new and entirely different. And you, Pete, anything, any change, any difference?
Yeah, it was interesting as I thought about kind of the frustration I had. It had to do with, actually, I was supposed to go this afternoon to visit my daughter at university. She's actually at the Naval Academy, and I learned about 2 weeks ago that the school had canceled her ability to get away because of something that somebody underneath her, but below her, had done incorrectly, like broke the rules. And I was full of just super frustration and anger and just, all this kind of like, just fed up kind of thing. But then as I went through your exercise, I said, wow, maybe the response should have been, Ellie, this is actually really a good thing. Probably I'm not supposed to be going up there this weekend. I don't know what's going on, but I'm going to see this as a positive, and we'll just find another weekend, which we are going to go at the end of this month. And that just changed everything.
Okay, and that's I'm so glad you told that story, because that in essence is what PQ does. It takes you out of that saboteur mind that judges things, people or situations, and can find either to accept or convert something into a blessing. That's PQ. That is a PQ. You were in sage mind. Perfect.
Oh, fabulous.
Perfect.
Yeah, well, it turns out like there was she has a close boyfriend, and he was going to go with us, and some things have happened recently which probably would have precluded him from going to this weekend. So it's just like that, and who knows what else. But yeah, I love that that I was in tune with what you were sharing. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. That is in essence what PQ is. It takes you out of that. I call them adult cookies. You know how we give our kids cookies to distract them from putting their hand on the stove or something? Your saboteurs want you to keep your hand on the hot stove, you see. So that when you do these PQ reps, and you could be doing them in the middle of a board meeting, you can be doing them, because there are visual ones, there are physical ones, there are different exercises. 2 minutes and is an adult cookie to distract you from that anger, frustration, sadness, whatever it is, and put you in sage mind, so you have a bigger perspective, a broader perspective, a calmer perspective, so that you can react differently to a situation and not get triggered by it. And that's basically what PQ is about, positive intelligence. Instead of letting your internal saboteurs wind you up and keep you, your mind going in this negative spiral. On a neurological level, what is happening is that your brain is literally being rewired, and the data coming out for that is just about to be published. They see MRI scans show the brain is actually being rewired, so that the part of the brain where the saboteurs live gets starved, that neural pathway gets starved, and the part of the brain where the sage lives actually gets strengthened. So that's where the mental fitness muscles are being built up to make us more resilient and less reactive and negative when things happen.
Yeah, I mean,
Yep,
yeah,
right.
I love it. And it's basically, in a simplistic terms, it's kind of reframing the situation. So you're looking at what it is, and the negativity, the emotional stress, the anxiety, and everything that it's causing you is all a negative, right? Now you've got to kind of switch that. How can I make that, right? I can either manifest it and complain about it and talk to people, and it just makes it worse, because then they'll share their depression. And then before you know it,
their saboteur
you've
is
created,
reacting with your saboteur.
you've created something that's blown out of all proportion. Rather than reframe it, that maybe right, it wasn't good, but if I look at how I can deal with that and then move it into a different place, and then kind of move away from that, then I'm reframing that. I mean,
well, yes, it is
that kind of
a
situation.
reframing exercise. It is. But what the difference being is that because of the physical activity, even the physical exercise here, or noting your breathing, or focusing your vision on something, it sets up not just an emotional connection, but a neurological connection. So you're like I said, you're literally rewiring the brain to think differently. And that's, I think that's where the difference lies.
Yeah. Boy, did you say?
Yes, I wanted to give a comment back that I attended several communication skills trainings. On some of them, for example, when it's a negativism that comes to you, you need to give a space. So you need to one very simple is not to react immediately, but let's say you can go back with, can you ask again or something. This is a trick to give your brain a little bit more time to stick. This is something, or if you, when you respond to something, to give time, let's say to count to 5 or 10 or whatever, just this gives you your time to split the emotion, let's say, from the actual facts that are coming. And this brings back to the exercise that we did when I was, it was a situation when I was pushed too close to the corner. And my reaction, at that time, I took my time to split the emotion. So this is maybe that, but this is a good idea, because when you do something physically, you really need to shift your mind from the fire to go to somewhere else, and this is kind of reframing. So it's really nice advice to follow.
Because that's the thing, especially because we're online all the time, we're up here all the time. So that few moments, the few minutes of doing something physical grounds us back into our bodies, so that we're not up in our heads, with this nonsense swirling around in our brains. And I was dwelling on it and getting more and more upset, more and more wound up, more and more frustrated, more and more angry. The person who created this, he's 𝗘𝗔𝗖𝗛. I mean, he trains, C-suite executives, and they say, oh, well, it's a guy, my saboteurs have gotten me, made me billions, blah, 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 blah. I said, yeah, but how's your marriage? How's that ulcer of yours?
Exactly.
Are you speaking to your kids at all these days? So yes, those saboteurs may get you to where you want to go, but they don't make you happy.
No.
They're not interested in making you happy. They're interested in keeping you under control.
Yeah, I heard lots of that. I mean, the serial entrepreneurs, they might have made the money, but on the expense of losing their relationship and family.
Their health, yeah, their well-being, all of that.
When you said about like rubbing together, because you're focusing on that, then what I felt was I need some hand cream, because I could feel I could feel that, wow, that's a bit rough.
But I mean, but it like I said, I call it an adult cookie, because it distracts you from that negative emotion long enough for the sage to kick in, and then you can look at things from a higher and more calm perspective, rather than in that spiral of anger and frustration, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
It's
exactly.
just long enough. And like I said, you can be doing that and sitting in a board meeting.
Yeah.
You can,
I think
you can sit in traffic and do it.
Exactly.
You know, so it's something that can be done anytime, anywhere, to help you to, you know, get calm and focused again, so that you can make better decisions.
I know. And unfortunately, we've kind of gone over the time, and we we need to kind of wrap up. But it's made me think of a few things. I need to reach out to Selena and get some of her hand cream. Right. Right. It's
yes, my 𝗘𝗔𝗖𝗛 lady. That's right.
Yeah. It's made me think that, yeah, if someone, I mean, I didn't even get onto some of the questions I wanted to ask you about some of my dreams and what their significance was. But I mean, if
you can contact me, you know, outside, and you know, we can do something.
Okay. But there was also, I mean, I know Emily was curious as well about dream decipherings. I don't know if it's from some personal experience or her own dreams or whatever. But if someone has vivid dreams or dreams that they want to know kind of the meaning behind that, what's the best way to reach out to you?
Well, there's two ways. If you just want tips to be able to give you some orientation as how to approach the dreams, I do that in a free 15-minute consultation.
Okay.
You can go to www.meetingwithsheila, all one word.
Yeah, could you just put it in the chat, and then I'll share that, right? And if it's more on
way, if they want me to actually go through the dream with them, and really do an in-depth
like analysis, isn't it?
To give an in-depth analysis or deciphering, because I don't analyze it, I decipher the clues. Then that is, I charge for that. And it takes 24 hours. And I charge £150 for that. And they get their response back, and I will go over it with them in a Zoom call. I will go over each bit of the dream with them and ask some pertinent questions for them to get the meaning of the dream. Because I don't actually interpret the dream. It's not my dream. So I cannot interpret something that's meant for someone else. But what I do is decipher the clues, or as I say, I crack the code of the dream. So because everybody has their own symbols, with their own meanings. So, and even from dream to dream, things can change, so that you have to approach each one as a complete work in and of itself. And that is what I do. So, I mean, like I said, if they just want quick tips, they can email me, and I'll give my email as well.
I used to, as a kid, have lots of dreams I could fly.
Yeah, most children do. And that's because, or as I think there's this joke about the reason why angels can fly is because they take themselves lightly. But, I mean, there's a lightness of being to children. Their souls are very clear and very clean. And so they do fly in essence, in their spirits. But adults get weighed down with responsibilities. They don't believe, in things anymore, or they believe the wrong things, which is where positive intelligence comes in. And their souls get weighed down, and so they can't fly. They can't fly.
Flown in dreams recently, Sheila.
Mm-hmm.
Probably within the last year, I've had a couple of really good flying dreams. I was like, that's pretty cool.
Mm.
Of 10 naked women. Was it?
You have a into mind. No, it was just cool. I mean, I was a former Navy pilot, so I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but I was really...
But I think that fact that you even pay attention to them is significant, because most people think, cheap red wine, dodgy takeaway dinner, and dismiss them. But they come from the deepest part of ourselves and the wisest part of ourselves, sage mind again, and have significant information for us. Because think of it this way, our conscious mind, the part that goes can only see this very narrow band, because if it tried to take in everything that's going on, it would implode. I mean, the birds singing outside, the neighbors arguing down the street, the vacuum cleaner going on upstairs, whatever it is. I mean, we can't take it all in. We just are not physically capable, but our conscious mind is clocking everything. And at night, when we're not distracted with the tables and chairs of daily life, it floats that information that's it's sifted through. It floats up any information that is significant enough for you to have to look at. It's like a little kite saying, hey, listen to this, pay attention to this, it's important for you. Now you have the choice of ignoring it or paying attention. Most people have a tendency to ignore it because the symbols are crazy, it doesn't make any sense, and it may be snippets of work, and there are different types of dreams as well.
Yeah. Is it possible then to, I mean, because sometimes you wake up and you can't remember you had a dream, but maybe you had a great dream, you just can't remember. So is it possible to go under hypnosis or something to remember the dream? You
don't have to go into hypnosis, but it's just like a muscle that you need to train. And I do teach people in one of my courses how to manifest, to call up, to remember, and to be able to interpret their dreams. So there are techniques that you can use, very simple or even very complicated, that will encourage you being able to better remember your dreams. But I mean, there are other things that can interfere with that process. Eating too late, drinking, taking medication, whether, or drugs of some kind, legal or illegal, stress. There's different things that can impact the quality of your sleep as well as the quality of your dreams. And research is showing that dreams, although a part of sleep, have their own significance in their own right.
Yeah. So I shouldn't eat cheese before I go to bed.
Well, if cheese it disturbs your sleep, then probably not.
Well, a hot cup.
I mean, a hot drink, it's people say hot milk because
I'm thinking of a spicy curry.
Too spicy food can, so there's lots of different things, and everyone is different as to what works and what doesn't. But eating too late, eating very spicy foods, having alcohol, thinking that it will relax you, it actually makes your brain more active. So there are different things that people can do to encourage a decent, nice sleep. And the other thing is, you have to sleep long enough to go through the sleep cycles, including to where the dream state happens. At the bottom of the cycle.
I honestly, I love all of this. And then I was watching an Indian guy, and he was talking about kind of the different levels of consciousness that you can go into. And he explained it like water. He says you can have water that is the fluid that turn the tap on it, it's running. Then you can have ice, You can have kind of black ice, that's really the hard stuff, and you can have mist. So he said, think of that as the different layers of consciousness as well. And it was a good way to visualize that, because they say that the deeper you go into the sleep, the more it is. So I mean, when we're daydreaming, if you use daydreaming, it's like mist. It's just kind of a bit woolly and it's out there. And then when you dream and then you go to the different layers, then it's.
I mean,
it's
you
like,
can even dream with your eyes open, but that's a technique that I don't
No, I don't
recommend
know if
to
I could do it.
everyone, for the simple reason that you need to be in a really strong mental
Mhm.
state. Because if you're kind of borderline or something, you can enter into the fantasy and never come out, like a bad LSD trip.
Oh yeah.
So it's not something that I suggest to
That's a
everyone,
that's
unless
a-
they
that-
have support, to make sure that they're okay.
So is there a balance between kind of natural dreams and enhanced dreams by using stimulants?
Well, of course there are. I mean, the people have been using, peyote or,
I was thinking like magic mushrooms or something.
magic mushrooms or different kinds of plants and things for thousands upon thousands of years to enhance their ability to dream, their ability to see into the unseen. But take care. But the thing is, it's done with a great deal of care. It's done with ceremony. It's done in a very ritualistic way, so that it's not just, oh man, let's eat some mushrooms. Yeah. It's not like that at all.
Exactly.
It's not done for entertainment. It's done
No.
for a spiritual purpose. And
Exactly.
that's the difference. So it's approached differently. I mean, I've never taken ayahuasca. I've never had magic mushrooms. I've never taken anything to be able to reach an altered state. Dancing does it for me, interestingly enough, and that's can be part of rituals to be able to enter into those.
I like that expression, the altered state. So Pete, what do you take to get an altered state?
Me, I don't take anything. I dance.
Oh, yeah. And Pete, what do you do?
What do I do? Probably listen to music, really just try to get kind of centered, look at nature, try to get into the outside,
He's a very deep man, this gentleman. Very deep man.
Yeah, I hug some trees.
But
I love watching 𝗬𝗢𝗨𝗥. That's kind of a really fun thing to do.
Yeah, I actually watching a flock of birds doing kind of like a ceremony
amazing,
in the
isn't it?
sky. I mean,
when the starlings, especially like I remember that in Rome, and Florence in Italy, they're flocking and diving and forming these shapes.
Yeah,
it's amazing to watch. Amazing.
I would like to know why they do it, and I mean,
probably to confuse prey.
Sorry.
I mean, to confuse predators, rather.
Really? But I mean, how do they organize the formation and who flies in what place?
They have sensors. They have these little sensors, sort of like, I guess, as a pilot, you have on your wings, you have things that sense when other.
Yeah, but who's deciding who's going to change the direction and make the swirls?
Yeah, because they're on an electrical kind of way.
Yeah.
They're aware of one another so that they can feel each other's.
But did you have a leader there that's just telling them that we're going to go left now, right now, and up?
No, because they're in sync. Aren't they? They're all when they take off and they get flying, they're all in sync. Who's that?
Zelina.
Hello.
Hi, Zelina. You're late. Zelina, you're late.
I guess what I'm doing, I'm running the business, and it's really, sorry guys, I really wanted to see Sheila. Congratulations to you, Sheila. I know your story is so beautiful, but I'm going to listen to the recording.
Yeah.
I've been busy with these guys, home delivery, making people healthier. So, but Are we like done now or?
Yeah, well, we were supposed to be
We're just
done
wrapping
like
up.
Oh my God, at least I
half an
get
hour
to see
ago.
you. At least I
Actually,
get to see you. I give you a big hug.
Oh,
Really.
that's
I
nice.
send you a big
You can
hug.
watch the recording. You know, it's been a fascinating conversation. It really has.
I am sure. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, you got to do what you got to do, girl. So it's like, don't worry.
Yeah. I got to make a living, right?
Exactly.
It's a tough road. It's a tough road, but I'm doing what I got to do right now.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
not to worry. I mean,
Yeah.
you're welcome in any case, even if it's just for a few moments.
Yeah, at least I'm really happy to get to see you in beautiful colors. Yellow, my favorite.
Yeah.
how did you know we're still on? Because we normally finish at 3 o'clock. So how did you know we were still here?
I don't know. I just like, oh, I forgot. I did not even look at the time, honestly.
'Cause
I just
we're
know
normally,
that whatever I'm
You
going to
know
get.
what it is, James. I called her up. Remember, I
Yes.
mentioned her during the conversation, you see?
yeah,
We
I
are
mean,
all connected human beings.
No,
And I'm
exactly.
like, Sheila, I have to see her. And you see, I just knew it. Like, I will see her.
because I mentioned you also.
You
Because
see?
Sheila
Called her up.
gave us a little exercise to do, and we had to
Oh, yes.
very lightly touch our fingers and rub, and then feel what it felt like. And I thought, oh shit, I need some hand cream. And then I was thinking, I'll have to speak to Selena.
I'll make for everyone in the group. I wish we all can see each other. We need to organize something so we can all be in one place and see each
Yeah,
other.
that'd be nice.
That would be amazing.
Yeah,
Selena, you missed the kickoff call for the book.
I miss everything. And I'm seeing all these emails, James, you would not believe how inundated I am. I hired a virtual assistant and I'm for the last week, and it has been so intense.
Wait, just wait. Let's just wrap this up, right?
Yeah.
And then I'll stop the recording.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we'll
But
add
I'm
all
sorry
this
to
the
miss,
record.
but I would look at a recording.
Okay,
Definitely.
now, just pause it one second. So Sheila,
Yes.
right? If people want to reach out to you, I've got the links here, so I'll share them also.
For the quick, like I said, some quick tips. They can drop me an email if they want an actual consultation.
Yeah.
Which it would take me 24 hours to go through the dream, and then I will speak with them in a Zoom call to go through the dream with them. That is paid.
Okay.
Wow.
Excellent. So I will share this video once I've finished with it.
Yeah.
And then the people that missed it can watch this.
Yeah.
People had to drop off early because we went way over time. Can catch up on it.
That's great.
And then Pete, anything else you want to say before we wrap up just this bit, and then we'll stay on?
Yeah, no, I just want to say thank you to Sheila, and I've really enjoyed it. And I do have to drop off, but it's great stuff, and I really, really enjoy this time that you've done, James. It's good, and I know Sheila is part of this author group, so I'm excited to continue the conversations with her and get to know her better. So, thank you for.
Looking forward to hearing about your story too.
Well, now that we're
you.
all four of us are in the book program as well. I mean, the essence is blending all the stories together in some way to make it magical.
Well, it's going to be amazing, I'm sure, because the energy of the group is just astronomical. astrological, amazing. It's amazing. It's going to be an amazing book, I'm sure.
Exactly. No, so I'm just going to wrap this up. I'll stop the recording, right? And then we can carry on just for a few minutes. Okay, thanks, Pete.
Bye.
All right, take care, Pete.